Leveling the wrong stats in the Gigaverse can be the difference between hitting level 40 in a matter of weeks or months. When I first started the Gigaverse, I knew nothing and honestly completely stuffed up my stats. If I could do it all over again, I know exactly how I would maximize them to level up as fast as humanly possible. Now, I will cover 5 key insights I learned along the way during this journey, how they apply to the Dungeontron and the Underhaul, and a full step-by-step guide on what you should do before you start leveling up your noob. Now, for context, let's break down the system. In the game right here, you go from the left to the right and you walk all the way up to the Dungeontron here. It's right at the top here, it's the blue boy, okay? You go to the Dungeontron, click on that, and you can do a run. After you do that, you will get this currency that is called scraps. You can see in the top right-hand corner here, once you click the little skills button, you can see it right there, 12,909, okay? You use this to improve your stats for the Dungeontron. Every 4 levels, you will get Giga shards, or if you go into the Underhaul, you can get them too. We'll cover that in a second. But you get these scrap. Now, it's worth noting that you cannot buy scrap from other players from the marketplace. I do not know if this will change. I don't think it ever will. So let's assume that these are soul-bound permanently. What this means is your only way to level up is 1, by playing the game, 2, by playing the game really well, and that's what I'm here to help you with. So you can level up all of these stats you see on the right here. Your sword attack, so that when you are successful or you tie, you deal more damage to your opponent. Your sword defense, so when you are successful or you tie, you gain armor or empty armor, you refill that before damage takes place. You can do that for all 3 stats. You can also level up HP, which will give you 2 extra HP, and armor, which will give you 1 extra armor. So HP is the only outlier that gives you 2. Everything else gives you 1 point of advantage. Now, this is important because the weaker you are, the longer it takes to level more. And so it can have a huge snowball effect when you do it well. At the end of this video, you will also learn which stat you should level as your top priority. Now, like and subscribe if you're enjoying this Gigaverse content, or follow and use my referral code if you haven't started your journey yet. I will leave it right down below. So, crafting gear. This is step 1. Now, not everyone's going to spend money to craft gear, and you might find skins in the Dungeontron too. So there's many ways to get gear. But I do suggest, you already spent $10 to create your noob. You should spend at least $1 more crafting gear. It will speed things up so fast, especially for your first 10 to 20 levels like crazy. What's interesting here is you can go into here, you can hit headgear, body gear, whatever. I like to do one at a time. For example, if you have a look at the Black Knight head, at the 50% common thing here, you get +2 max health, +3 max health for green, +1 damage shield. So the Paladin gear is what I mostly use. It gives you a ton of shield damage. Absolutely love it. At the Epic, you get +3 and +2. Massive boost to your stats. The Imkin head will give you a lot of spell damage. The Nocturne head gives you a lot of sword damage. And things like that. So pick whichever one you want. That's the crafting station where you can see kind of what stats they give. If you go to the Giga Market, you can see how much they cost. If you type in skin, you can see the Imkin body is $3, and it actually had really good stats. If you want to drop $3 on that, fine. There's a lot of really cheap ones. You'll find these in the Dungeontron as well, but things like the Fanatic body, the Paladin head, and things like that. Grab a kit, go. You need to craft some potions first, so you get the little crafting items so you can craft armor. Then go here, click one of them, and craft it. Very, very simple. I'm going to craft one of these heads right now. No, I can't. I don't need the body. I actually have 2 of the epics there, so I'm not going to do that. Okay. So this will help prompt your best options moving forward. I'll show you exactly what I mean with that. If I go here to have a look at the items I have equipped, if I have a look at my Paladin body here, I get +3 shield damage and +2 shield damage. So these are the base stats I'm getting. So that will either mean I don't need to level shield at all because it's already got really good damage and maybe I want to focus on something else, or I want to double down and level up shield a lot. And we'll talk about that in just a minute. So the first thing is double check on your gear and make sure to grab that if you think it makes sense for you. Okay. The second thing is you need to use one attack to kill the enemy. Okay. Become a maxi. Everyone is a slightly different maxi. Okay. You might be a different maxi to me. I'm a shield maxi. You can see from this video right here, I have a ginormous shield every single time I enter the Dungeontron. I also have a really big shield when I enter the Underhaul. But why do you want to maximize one item? Because the later stages in the game, and I'll show you in just a second, The later stages all have really high armor, and the problem is if you rely too heavily on RNG, it can cause some serious issues down the line. Let me give you an example. Maybe your enemy has 20 armor, and your shield attack does 30 damage. Every time you get a tie or a win, you take down all 20 armor, guaranteed. If they don't have any, great, you do even more damage. But if they have full 20 armor, which will happen often, you take it all down in one hit, and then you take off some of their health. Every single time you take off some of their health, enemies cannot heal. They can only regain their armor. So if you're not taking their armor down to 0 as often as possible, you are relying on so many consecutive wins. You need to win game after game after game. Every single time you lose a match, you're basically back to square one. You've got to start all over again. You cannot be doing that in the later stages of these fights. That's why being a maxi is really important. Let me show you the enemies and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. So that was tip 2. Tip 3, and these graphics came from Nomad. Just wanted to call that out. So tip 3, let's have a look. That's the underhaul. Let's have a look at the Dundratron. So you can see floor 2, right, is this second column right here. You can see that even the Paladin here has 8 armor. Then they go to 5 and 5. And then 15 for the Red Knight. So if your attack, okay, if one of your attacks that you're using to hit them is not above 15, and I'm pretty confidently get my shield to 25 pretty easily, I can one-shot this thing. If I click shield and I tie or win, remember, tie or win, I kill it. That's the big piece of RNG people miss about this game. It's all about the ties. The wins don't matter. The ties matter, because if you win 2 out of 3 of those rolls, nothing else is important. If you throw it and 2 out of 3 times they throw something, you win big or you win small or whatever, that's how you defeat the RNG gods, and that is how you win in the Gigaverse. But you cannot do it if your shield is like 10 attack and you take you off 10 damage and then you lose the next round and he gets a shield, he gets 7 of that back. You're just re-rolling all that RNG over and over, and you're eventually just going to die because you need to heal between rounds and do rounds one after the other. You need to kill them as quickly as you can. That's why going a maxi is important. So that is the enemies, and you can see how hard it gets when you get to floor 3. 10 armor, 14 armor, 15 armor. He has 22 health. You need a 37 attack thing to kill him in one hit if he has full armor. If he's down on his armor, you need over 20 to kill him in one hit. You need to bring these down to as little amounts of attacks as possible. And so leveling up your skills needs to relate to that. It's very important. You can also see that on floor 2, they're very heavy on shield. They're well balanced on floor 3, except for 3-2, which is absolutely busted. He screws everyone. So if you're stuck on him, don't worry. You are not alone. Magic is the most effective against him, but you need those good ties. High HP and armor on floor 3 to 4 means you just need really big things to hit them with, or you are going to lose on floor 4. Okay, I'm telling you right now. Okay, so the next, so we'll quickly show you the underhaul. They're all ridiculous, but you can even see here, even at the end of, I think that's floor 1. Yeah, at the end of floor 1. They have 32 total thing that you need to get through to kill them, which is really hard. 23 on room 3. So unless your thing is hitting for over 8, you basically cannot beat that thing. I'm telling you right now, unless you're hitting for over 8, you're going to get really lucky, like 10% of your runs, you're going to beat him. But if you're hitting for over 8 consistently, it might be 30 or 40% of your runs. That's how much the RNG actually increases. I can run the numbers on that if you guys want and see if I'm right, but that is how much your RNG will increase, I assure you. Okay. So the next thing you need to do is make sure the ties are really good for you. This is a little bit more of an advanced tip. We're going to go through it, okay? So, for example, if you have your maxi item and maybe your shield is doing 20 damage, you're like, that's enough. I'm being able to clear the armor pretty much all the way up to floor 4. That's good for me. I totally get that, okay? You also need to make sure the ties are good because you can only use your move 3 times in a row before it resets, and you really don't want to use it twice in a row as often as you can. But that means that your other attacks need to have a good tie. However, you don't need to level them both up. Now, I would suggest getting the armor gaining thing on the 2 things that you're not maxing. In my case, I maxied shield. And so your sword and your magic, they both need to have really good armor gain. Like your magic can be only doing 2 damage. It's not that important. But as long as it's refilling your entire armor bar, in that fight, if it gets a tie, you're getting extreme value out of that. So like doing damage to your opponent is going to be good, but unless you can get it really high, it's not going to be substantial enough. So it giving you shield is going to be even more valuable in my opinion. So you want to level up one thing really, really big. And the next tip there is level up your second thing, or both of your second things, get their shields up really high. So they're giving you shields just in case you have to use them. But make sure one of them is semi-okay. In my case, they're both actually quite good. That is one of the big areas I stuffed up the stats. If I didn't, my magic right now would be 2-4 instead of, 9-4. I put like 5 points in its attack. They would all be in shield right now. I'm pretty happy with my sword at 9-5 though, giving me really good shield on the tie. Good damage, fine, not as important, but good damage is good. But they're both giving me good shields on the tie, and so I'm getting a really good advantage from that, okay? So you need some value whenever you don't use your maxi item, especially if you lose with your maxi item sometimes, and you'll have runs like that. I'm mostly convinced at this point that the enemy just throws a 1 in 3 die, and that's what it throws. I don't think it's actually like that calculated, maybe a little bit, but yeah. So you need to gain some armor from that. And that is the last tip I want to talk to you. Here's the big one. Increasing maximum armor will help you clear at least 1 or 2 rooms more consistently. I had an image to represent this. Hold on, let me grab that. I completely forgot I had that. You saw in that video right there that I lost on 2-4, okay? I had a really rough run with that, but I didn't get any shielding at all pretty much in my rerolls. I usually try to get as many of them as I can. You can see in this run here, I got up to 3-2, or 3-3. I beat 3-2, which everyone gets hard stuck on. The big difference you'll notice between that gameplay footage and this, where I beat 3-2, I think I lost on... No, I actually beat this one. I lost on 3-4 on this run. I didn't take another screenshot. Sorry about that. You can see that my shield, not as big as in the other thing. In the other fight, I was like 25 shield attack, but I still lost on 2-4. It's all the armor gain here from the different items. You can see 6, 9, and 7. So whenever I'm doing them, I'm getting huge value. Huge value. But that does not mean anything. Does not mean anything unless you go up to your skills right here and you level up your max armor. I found 6 is pretty good. You can go higher. If you've got levels to kill and you've got some of these like shield defense, sword defense, and spell defense up at like semi-decent levels, get your max armor up. Make sure it's at least twice as much as your other things. Because if you pull like a +6 armor gain on sword during the run, then you're really wasting that if your armor is not high enough to accommodate it. And you want to be grabbing max armor during the runs as much as you can, but really make this max armor high. Make sure all of the defenses from all 3 moves can support it well, and you will go like 2 or 3 more rooms every single run, and that will help you level up faster than any other new player in the Gigaverse. I hope you learned something today. For more info, please check out my beginner guide so you can get started easily.